Welcome to Cozy English Story, a place where powerful stories help you improve your English naturally. Close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and get ready to listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Today's story is emotional, dramatic, and unforgettable. It's about pride, rivalry, and a moment that changes everything. My name is Adrienne Cole, and for most of my adult life, I measured success by one thing: beating Victor Hale. People in the industry called us legends, rivals, opposites. If I secured a contract, he would take two. If he launched a campaign, I would outspend him just to prove a point. Our companies grew side by side like twin skyscrapers, each trying to block the other's sunlight. But what no one understood was how personal it had become. It hadn't started that way. 5 years earlier, when we were both climbing the ladder, I actually admired him. Victor was sharp, calm, calculated. While I was aggressive and bold, he was strategic and patient. We were different, but equal. At least that's how I saw it at first. Then came the Henderson deal, the biggest contract either of us had ever competed for. I worked for months, late nights, missed birthdays, endless revisions. I was certain it was mine. But in this final meeting, Henderson chose Victor. I'll never forget the way Victor looked at me afterward. Not smug, not arrogant, sympathetic. That look burned more than losing. I didn't want his sympathy. I wanted his defeat. From that day forward, admiration turned into obsession. I studied his weaknesses. I targeted his clients. I undercut his pricing to force him into uncomfortable decisions. Every victory felt like revenge. Every loss felt like humiliation. Pride fed the fire. Then came the night of the accident. We had both attended a high-profile investor meeting downtown. Rain hammered the windows. Thunder shook the glass. The investors announced their decision near the end of the evening. They chose me again. Applause filled the room. I shook hands, accepted congratulations, but my eyes searched for Victor. He stood across the room, composed, professional, distant, but something about him looked tired. I ignored it. I left the building around 10 p.m. The storm had worsened. Rain poured heavily, blurring street lights. My driver had the night off, so I took my own car. The highway stretched dark and nearly empty. Water sprayed up from my tires. I should have driven slower, but pride makes you careless. About 20 minutes into the drive, traffic slowed suddenly. A large transport truck had lost control. My car hydroplaned. Time fractured. The steering wheel jerked from my hands. My vehicle spun sideways. Glass exploded. Then everything went black. Consciousness returned in fragments, ringing in my ears. The taste of blood. The smell of gasoline. I was hanging upside down, held by my seat belt. My head throbbed. My right leg screamed with pain. Rain poured through the shattered windows. I tried to unbuckle myself, but my hands were shaking too badly. Then I heard something that made my heart stop. A crackling sound, smoke, faint orange light under the hood fire. Panic surged. I yanked at the seat belt, collapsed, pain exploded. The driver's side door wouldn't budge. I was trapped. Then I heard footsteps. A voice shouting my name. Adrienne, Victor. He tried the passenger door, then the driver's. It wouldn't open. He ran back to his car and returned with a tire iron. He jammed it into the crumpled frame near my leg and pushed. The frame lifted just enough. Pain tore through me. Flames burst from the engine seconds later. He dragged me across wet asphalt away from the wreckage. We both lay there in the rain, gasping, staring at the sky. Why? I whispered. He didn't answer. His eyes were closing. When I woke up again, the storm was gone. I was in a hospital. My leg throbbed, my ribs ached. IV line taped to my wrist. Victor was in surgery. He had sustained internal injuries and smoke inhalation. He went back toward the vehicle after pulling me out. He risked his life for me. Hours passed in a blur of pain medication and anxious silence. Reporters called the hospital. 2 of the city's most competitive businessmen involved in a near-fatal crash. Headlines probably wrote themselves. Rivals survive Highway Inferno, but none of that mattered. I only thought about the moment he looked at me through shattered glass and ran toward danger instead of away from it. Weeks passed. Recovery was slow. Media tried to frame the accident as a rivalry twist. They were wrong. It wasn't dramatic. It was clarifying. When Victor and I returned to work months later, something had shifted. We still competed, but respectfully without venom. One afternoon, we met for coffee. He joked lightly about spreadsheets. I laughed genuinely. I admitted I was blind. He corrected me. Pride makes you fragile. He was right. Pride had almost cost me my life and something worse, my humanity. As I stand in my office now, months later, watching city lights flicker, I sometimes replay that night. Rain, fire, the moment my so-called enemy ran toward danger. Victor didn't just save me from a burning car. He saved me from a burning ego. I learned something no business school could ever teach. Pride convinces you that winning is everything, but forgiveness reminds you being human is more important. My enemy saved my life and, in doing so, opened my eyes. That's the end of today's story. At Cozy English Story, we believe English is not just a language. It's a way to feel, connect, and understand others. If this story touched your heart, write kindness in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss any emotional English story. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep being kind.